Okay, so we are live now, Praagya. Hello, everyone. I welcome you all to EduTap. And today I have with me Ms. Praagya Sharan, a newly selected RBI Grade B officer. Many congratulations to you, Ms. Praagya.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much.
And I welcome you to EduTap. We are really happy to have you today. We'll be discussing about your strategy, about the journey of this RBI examination, everything.
Sure, ma'am.
So I'll just give a brief introduction of yours, right, to all the students out there. So guys, Miss Pragya has done a BTech in 2017, and then she did MBA from IIM.
IIM Indore, yes, ma'am.
I am Indore. She did MBA, and she's currently working. And from past 3 years, she has been working in a private company
Right.
as a senior associate.
Yes, ma'am.
But she decided to pursue this RBI Grade B examination in 2021. She took her first attempt. She cleared phase 1 but could not clear the next level. In this year, she took the attempt second time, and she is with us today sitting as an RBI Grade B officer. So obviously that journey has been, I would say, not a very smooth journey, like BTech या फिर MBA, and then वर्किंग के साथ साथ में फुल टाइम वर्किंग इन अ प्राइवेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन और प्रिपेयर किया. तो अ लॉट टू नो फ्रॉम यू, प्रज्ञा. तो आपने और कुछ बताओ प्लीज अपने बारे में.
Sure, ma'am. So, I belong to Ranchi, Jharkhand. I did my schooling from there. And as you mentioned, after my 12th, I decided to go for engineering. I did my BTech from NIT Jamshedpur. My branch was Electronics and Communications. And then immediately after, I got into IIM Indore, and that's where I did my MBA. And my job has been really nice in the sense that there's no dissatisfaction there. But I decided to take an attempt in RBI because while working in my company, I developed an interest in finance. It happened very organically. So I decided to pursue it. And I think, ma'am, it goes without saying that anyone who wants to pursue a career in finance or economics, I mean, RBI is a very good potential employer that one must consider.
Yes, I would say it is kind of a dream job for the people who have interest in this background. And
Sure.
but a very important thing is, Pragya, you decided you do very organic, as you said. Your story has been you worked with this organization where you developed interest in finance, and then you decided to pursue RBI. तो लाइक सुनने में बहुत ही अच्छा लगता है ना. लेकिन थोड़े से हार्डशिप्स में हमें बताना प्लीज, क्या रहे होंगे आपके ड्यूरिंग दिस जर्नी.
मैम जब मैंने डिसाइड किया आरबीआई टेकअप करूंगी तो इट हैपेंड ड्यूरिंग द पैंडेमिक. मैंने मैम अपना डिसीजन लिया इनफैक्ट अटेम्प्ट करने का जब नोटिफिकेशन आई 2021 की. एंड उस टाइम पे आई हैड वेरी लिटिल टाइम इन हैंड एंड आरबीआई तब तक वाज एन ऑब्जेक्टिव, अ कंप्लीटली ऑब्जेक्टिव एग्जामिनेशन, कुछ डिस्क्रिप्टिव नहीं होता था. तो फेज 1 तो खैर हो गया क्लियर, बट अगेन उस टाइम पे मैम मेरी प्रिपरेशन बहुत सुपरफिशियल थी ऑनेस्टली, क्योंकि मुझे लगा लास्ट 2-3 मंथ्स के मॉड्यूल्स कर लूंगी एंड आई विल बी गुड टू गो. इट वाज ओनली व्हेन आई अपीयर्ड फॉर फेज 1 आई रियलाइज्ड कि कितना ज्यादा डेप्थ में दे वर आस्किंग क्वेश्चंस. एंड मैम द बिगेस्ट लर्निंग फॉर मी has been, which I think a lot of aspirants will relate to, is I still remember 6th March ko when I came back after giving my phase 1 examinations. I was very demotivated because it had not gone as per my expectations. And I made the biggest mistake of going through the Telegram messages, and uspe all sorts of discussions were happening, and I just decided ki mera nahi clear hoga. So I gave up my preparation for that 1 week completely. And jab results aaye, it was a surprise, but and while my parents and everyone else were very happy that I was going to give phase 2, I somewhere knew that I had whiled away that entire 1 week, which was going to cost me for phase 2. And I mean, uske baad I had some 18 days in hand. I prepared as much as I could, but I think somewhere that 1 week ka jo gap maine le liya, it impacted, and I missed my cutoff by 13 marks us time pe. So I had, that was a very big regret that I had. And uske baad I had decided that ek attempt to lena hai, and I'll prepare very honestly. Hona na hona is again destiny, but I'll prepare with all the honesty that I have. And I'm so happy that I was able to clear this examination this time.
And I would say even we are happy to have you today, because see this journey, ye jo aapne bataya na, it is so insightful for the students. This happens, I am glad that you shared this thing from your journey. Aisa hota hai, after the examination people are like, I will not be able to study till the result is out, but that
Mm-hmm.
1 week, 10 days or 12 days are very very important. And I think this should give a learning to the students out there who are planning to appear, or even like other exams are also there, NABARD or
Mm-hmm.
SEBI. This thing happens with them also, because cycle is like same only. So this is very important कि अपना preparation start करो आने के बाद, right? Because I think in 2021 the cutoff fell drastically. The
Right.
exam was difficult for everyone out there. It
Mm-hmm.
was actually difficult, and cutoff was very, like, it was half in comparison to previous year.
Mm-hmm.
तो ठीक है, you decided, you appeared in phase 2 and then you decided कि चलो next year I'll give the attempt. तो उसमें with your job you
Mm-hmm.
planned starting से ही that you will be preparing completely, या फिर थोड़ा gap लिया and then later on you decided to prepare?
No, ma'am, I had my job all along.
Hmm.
As a person, I'm very risk averse. I try avoid taking risks as much as possible. And मुझे मैम, आप अगर देखेंगे जितने भी aspirants होते हैं, job, there are fair number of candidates who have a job and then they prepare alongside. तो मेरे दिमाग में कभी नहीं आया that I need to leave my job. Obviously, I had to balance a lot of things. I had to work extra hard. I had to be very smart about planning my leaves and everything. But it was always a given that I'll be preparing along with the job, and it also gave me a security. Like बहुत ज़्यादा stress नहीं हुआ because RBI, or as you rightly mentioned, NABARD, SEBI. If you look at the number of seats, right, बहुत ज़्यादा कम seats होती हैं. Like this time it was about 236 or 238 number of seats. So I feel कि when you have a job in hand, you feel a lot more secure and therefore you're able to devote your energy better. This is my personal opinion. Again, there are people हमारे जो whatever little I've interacted with who got selected, and they are prepared without jobs. And
Hmm.
but I mean, this was my decision
Hmm.
completely.
And since you decided, as you said, that with job this was clear in your mind that I'm going to work and then prepare, so
Right.
did you used to make a daily schedule, or you decided that this amount of time I am going to give on a daily basis to the preparation, or on weekends I'll do more? ऐसा कुछ planning भी किया था?
Sure, ma'am. When the notification came out this time, I started giving mocks right from day one. Like the day notification came out, I appeared for my mock the very second day. And that was my strategy. I relied heavily on mocks. Like I tried to take up as many sectional tests, full-fledged mocks, everything. मैंने बहुत ज़्यादा उस पर rely किया. वो मेरी एक स्ट्रैटेजी रही. उसके अलावा I started preparing my management section immediately after the notification came out, because that is one section which is completely static, very limited syllabus, and a lot of times I don't know why people neglect it. They feel कि पहले economics and finance and then management. You can easily prepare management in 10 to 15 days.
Hmm.
जो भी मटेरियल है एंड एवरीथिंग, तो वो मैंने कर लिया था. एंड मेरे डेली टारगेट्स होते थे इन द सेंस कि मैं मॉक बनाती थी एंड आई वुड एनालाइज देम इमीडिएटली. That was my strategy. And weekends pe again I weekends pe I wouldn't take any mocks. I'd just revise whatever I had studied in that past 1 week.
Hmm.
So that was my strategy.
So again, a lot things to learn actually for the students जो अभी prepare करें. There usually people are watching the strategy sessions to gauge that what things should I highlight, what should I implement, taking this point away. तो ये बहुत काम आएगा. And Pragya, you mentioned that you had the course of EduTap, right?
Right.
So how did you like prepare for? Let's start with the phase 2 preparation itself. As you
Mhm.
yourself mentioned that you did management first. So how did you prepare for phase 2?
Sure, ma'am. So management के लिए particularly, I went through EduTap, and EduTap material is very extensive. Like it covers the entire length and breadth. Sometimes I feel it covers even more.
Hmm.
It's very, very extensive and very well prepared. So I prepared my short notes for it. And before I started preparation, my strategy was that for each of the three subjects, was the static part especially, I must have a booklet, 20 to 30 pages, which can help me in quick revision. So when I started to sort of write my own notes, I prepared my notes online. मेरा management का notes, by the time I ended my preparation, was about 60 pages.
Hmm.
And I that was my base material entirely made from EduTap. And after that, as I mentioned, I took up a lot of mocks.
Hmm.
So whatever extra I'd feel that, is important for the examination, I'd just keep adding to it.
Hmm.
So that was my strategy for management. And again, I took a lot of help from EduTap descriptive module.
Hmm.
I just read through the descriptive material because it's given in the form of questions. It's very convenient as well. So I'd read through the answers, and if there would be any particular phrase, any particular example which I felt could be utilized in my descriptive answer, I'd just quickly make a note of it. So that was my strategy for management.
And what about the mock test? You mentioned you used a lot of mock tests for phase one, but did you also take the mock test, or did you do a lot of writing practice for the phase two, descriptive part especially?
Ma'am, I couldn't get a lot of time to do writing practice because I was already working, but I made notes of it, and I would keep on revising it. I'm lucky because since I have the organization that I'm associated with, there's a lot of writing and typing involved. So that helped me. I was very clear that typing would not be a problem in the examination. And I just read a lot of those answers. In terms of mocks, yes, I did. To answer your question, I took up a lot of phase two mocks as well. The sectional tests which are there,
Hmm.
the previously analyzed questions, and I remember there used to be EduTap marathon sessions
Hmm.
where the important questions of management would be discussed extensively. So I'd go through those videos as well, and that I think helped me a lot.
Okay, so that was about management. And what about the other subject, your ESI, and also a bit things about finance?
So for ESI, I'll first talk about ESI. My preparation for ESI, it started with I referred to the Affair Clouds, the 300-page booklet that is there. I went back to up to 6 months,
Hmm.
and only certain sections of it. I had not touched that booklet for phase one because I knew it's too extensive. But for phase two, I utilized it, certain sections of it. That was my base material. Other than that, for specifically for schemes, I would refer to. So what I would do is that this is where I went through PIB. I didn't go through it entirely. I had marked certain ministries, like the Ministry of Health and Education, then Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Social Justice and Empowerment, Women and Child Development. So all there are certain number of ministries which are extremely important, and this you can decide when you go through the syllabus. So I'd only go through the press releases of those ministries, and I'd just make notes of the schemes which are in news. So I had the ministry, I had the schemes which are in news, and any latest development that had happened, very brief notes. That was again one source that I referred to. I used to go give a lot of sectional tests. Current affairs के लिए EduTap में there are sectional tests, GDP projections पे, reports and indices पे. So I'd take those up because and the reason I lay so much emphasis on mock is because when you see questions, when you see a fact, a current affair in the form of questions, right? It's easier for you to retain that.
Hmm.
So I do a lot of that. And again, the marathon series, I remember schemes पे एक marathon series हुई थी. Reports and indices पे मैम शायद आपने ही लिया था. तो
Hmm.
वो बहुत मुझे हेल्प किया था. एंड मैंने वीडियोस भी काफी देखे हैं बिकॉज अगेन आप वीडियोस आप कहीं भी देख सकते हो, मे बी व्हेन यू गोइंग फॉर अ वॉक और इवन इफ आई हैड माय ऑफिस going on simultaneously, I'd keep listening to those videos.
Hmm.
So those helped me a lot. ESI पे यही था मैम रफली मेरा प्रेपरेशन स्ट्रैटेजी.
ठीक है, तो इट वाज मेजरली अबाउट करंट अफेयर्स एज इट इज इन द एग्जामिनेशन, और उसमें एक इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट यू हैव सेड इज दैट डिस्क्रिप्टिव राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस यू डिड नॉट डू मच, बट यू टुक अ लॉट ऑफ टेस्ट्स, यू रेफर टू द वीडियोस वेर इन यू कुड रिकॉल अगेन एंड अगेन जो भी रीड किया. रिविजन बेसिकली इज important, right? And finance is also left, right? So we have discussed about management.
हाँ, finance static के लिए मैम I didn't have to put in too much effort because मैंने CFA लिया था level 1 इस week sometime in February. तो मेरा static बहुत हद तक clear था finance में. For RBI circulations etc. मैंने video series follow की. एक RBI news करके होती है, I think कृतिका मैम लेती हैं, तो वो मैंने बहुत extensively follow किया. मैंने अपने खुद के बहुत very short and brief notes बनाए. Finance में वो था, and for descriptive again for ESI as well as finance, there were certain topics जिन पे I made very short notes जो कि मुझे लग रहा था, I mean I have a habit of going through the newspaper. तो कुछ topics थे मतलब जैसे कि उस समय unemployment, inflation, climate change, और सिलेबस से भी अगर आप देखेंगे तो बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट क्राइसिस, द एलपीजी रिफॉर्म्स, फिनटेक, फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन, strategy for financial inclusion, financial education, RBI की ये सारे कुछ हैं जो कि मतलब आप देखेंगे सिलेबस में और आपको लगेगा कि इससे तो मतलब आता ही है, इससे डिस्क्रिप्टिव ही आ सकता है, ऑब्जेक्टिव के चांसेस बहुत कम है। तो
Hmm.
उस पे आई हैड मेड सम वेरी ब्रीफ एंड शॉर्ट नोट्स एंड आई थिंक दैट हेल्प मी अ लॉट।
Hmm.
एंड ऑल्सो मैं जब टाइपिंग करती थी सो एड एक ग्रामरली साइट होती है, मैं उसके इंटरफेस पे डायरेक्टली टाइप करती थी, आई वुडंट टाइप ऑन वर्ड। तो उससे
Hmm.
क्या होता था, पंक्चुएशंस वगैरह, आई
Hmm.
मीन आई डोंट नो डिस्क्रिप्टिव के फाइनल करेक्शन में वो सब चीजें कितनी मैटर करती हैं, बट दैट हेल्प मी अ लॉट मेरे सेंटेंस फॉर्मेशन, बिकॉज आई हैव अ हैबिट ऑफ टाइपिंग वेरी लॉन्ग सेंटेंसेस. No, that was very intentional. I always had in the back of the mind that the sentences should be very crisp, very short. बहुत complicated नहीं करना है language, because
Hmm.
they have to be as simple as possible. So those were certain
So
takeaways.
all these things I think are going to be to be very helpful to the students, especially this grammarly part also, because usually students have this question. We get this question a lot, ma'am,
Mhm.
practice kahan kare? Where do I practice? How do I get to know my mistakes and all? So that is a good thing. But now I have this question. How much time did it take to prepare for phase 2 completely, like the subjects of phase 2 when you were preparing? Itne time mein do you have anything in mind कि हाँ या फिर you planned that I'll complete this in this duration?
Ma'am, I think phase two and phase one preparations are not exclusive of each other.
Hmm.
When you're preparing for phase one, because
Hmm.
I think for the past 2 years, I believe RBI has been very, very extensive in terms of giving questions for phase one. They are hardcore, tough questions, like very
Hmm.
fact based
Hmm.
schemes वगैरह सब आते हैं phase one में.
Hmm.
So I would believe that my preparation for phase two started while I was preparing for phase one.
Hmm.
Um, and the descriptive parts specifically started after I appeared for phase one. So I
Hmm.
believe 28th May tha, and 30th May se I started making my own notes
Hmm.
uh, on these particular topics that I just mentioned. PIB को रेफर करना भी आई थिंक आई स्टार्टेड आफ्टर अपियरिंग फॉर फेज वन, क्योंकि
Hmm.
वो मुझे लगा कि बहुत ज्यादा एफर्ट जाती है, तो वो मैंने सोचा कि वंस आई नो आई मीन अपियर्ड फॉर इट आई शुड
Hmm.
स्टार्ट.
ठीक है.
तो
ठीक है, fair enough. I think that is. So phase 2 में we have discussed a lot about the subjects. Anything you'd like to add about descriptive English also? Any tips you'd like to give to the students, or anything that was of help to you?
ma'am, descriptive English, mein, again, unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to practice it. I remember about 3 days before the examination, I went through a lot of videos, wo Pressy ke liye jo, I mean, the self-help videos where they tell you ki how to approach Pressy and reading comprehensions. I just went through those videos, and I had decent marks the last time as well. I hadn't practiced at all, and I had decent marks. So I had this confidence that, if I be a little more careful, if I plan my time well, I'd be able to do well there. For essay, again, the phase two preparation helps a lot. Most of the times, I don't think there has ever been a time when RBI has given very abstract topics. They mostly
Hmm.
give topics which center around current affairs or something which is there in the phase two syllabus already. So I think that helps. Also, read the questions very, very carefully. I'd like to put special emphasis on that, because I remember इस बार phase 2 essay में the word limit was 600 words. Normally it's 300 to
Hmm.
400 words, and I remember a lot of the aspirants, they said that, we did not go through the question
Hmm.
and hence we missed the word limit. So just hold your nerves. I think phase 2 in general, if I have to give any particular suggestion, just hold your nerves, be very calm. इस पेपर आता है थोड़ा रैटल कर देने वाला, ऑनेस्टली हमने इकोनॉमिक्स देखी एंड उस समय हमें लगा ये क्या ही आया है. फाइनेंस भी, इट वाज नॉट वेरी डायरेक्ट, द क्वेश्चंस वर नॉट वेरी डायरेक्ट.
Hmm.
So just hold your nerves and remember that if the question is tough for you, it's going
Hmm.
to be tough for everyone. So be calm and give your best.
That is actually a very I'm glad that you said it actually, because
Mm.
this is very important that you maintain your calm and composure during the paper. Because if you see, like, it happens, it is a human nature that you see one question, descriptive questions hai thoda tough hai, objective hai very difficult, I might not be able to do, but that at that point of time you have to understand paper complete karna hai with all your nerves. So that is, I think, important. And the descriptive English may, I think, you have suggested that if you are doing your good preparation of
Mhm.
current affairs, doing your good preparation of other subjects, it will help you there also.
Definitely.
in the essay part. And for like for Pressy or reading comprehension, you must go through the videos, or at least you should know how the paper is. You had the experience of previous paper, so that helped you. Okay.
Right.
So I think that's about it. Now we shall move on to the phase 1 part. So let's talk about QRE. I'm getting questions also. Students are asking that how did you prepare? Did you watch all the videos of content reasoning? Ya kaise prepare kiya?
Sure, ma'am. So for QRE, I had a bit of a background because I had appeared for CAT in 2016. So that helped. So I didn't have to start my preparation from the scratch. बिल्कुल beginners के लिए अगर मैं बोलूँ तो अपने जब उस time पे when I was preparing for CAT, I remember I had referred to these books. अरुण शर्मा की books आती थी उस समय. Quants Reasoning English. They are very very nice books. Level 1, Level 2, Level 3 ऐसे करके. So if you are just starting out with your preparation, please go through those books. They're very helpful. What I did for RBI was, as I mentioned, I started giving mocks right away. Like right from the first day itself, I was appearing for mocks and I would analyze those mocks and accordingly decide. Like, for example, when I was giving my mocks, I figured out that, I was not scoring very well for questions which were related to compound interest, simple interest, or for work power and those kinds of questions. I felt that I needed a bit of practice. So that's where I referred to the YouTube videos. And also, I remember EduTap pe, the there are recorded videos where faculty members are attempting previous year questions. So I'd watch a lot of those videos. Now, what happens is when you see someone experienced attempting those questions, right? You get an idea कि, यहाँ से pick किया उन्होंने, this is how they started. So that gives you a very good idea about how to approach a question. Similarly for reasoning can be a bit difficult because puzzles होते हैं, syllogisms होते हैं. And puzzles are difficult. That goes without saying. But when you give mocks, right, when you're practicing it, it helps you. It definitely does. Um, Also, don't have this preconceived notion that puzzles आएंगे तो I'm going to leave it. Syllogisms आएंगे तो I'll attempt it, because this time when I attempted the paper, I also had this kind of thought process that I'm going to solve equality, inequality, critical reasoning, syllogisms. Puzzles I'm going to leave. But I remember there was this one puzzle, I think 3 or 4 questions थे उसके, and that was a very long puzzle but a very easy one. So when I read through it, it was very easy for me to crack that puzzle. So don't have those preconceived notions. Obviously, बहुत ज्यादा टाइम नहीं वेस्ट करना है किसी क्वेश्चन पे, बट आप पढ़िए, आप एक बार उस क्वेश्चन को पढ़िए और फिर डिसाइड करिए whether you have to attempt it or not. That is very important. Yeah.
So basically preconceived notion तो होता है students का usually. They might, this happens in the, हाँ तो this point again takes us to that point जो आपने पहले बोला, maintain your calm and nerve in the examination. You sometimes think कि ये तो मैंने करना ही नहीं है, I'll not do this question, but that is sometimes easy. So that decision of doing that question or not is to be taken there itself, right?
Definitely.
So for quant and reasoning, like have your basics clear. You can refer to the videos or the books that are given, and the practice is very important, as you said.
Very important.
Previous year questions and also the mock test, because through that you will be able to analyze your strength and your weakness. You gave a lot of mock tests, you said. Just after the notification you were taking all tests, and I think this might have helped you in the English for phase 1 as well, taking
Yes,
mock tests.
Definitely. My preparation for English was completely through mocks. I didn't do anything extra, just the mock tests. And ma'am, I'm not exaggerating. I took close to 50 mocks before phase 1. And it also helped me in GA, because when you're giving 50 mocks, right, you're seeing a lot of questions. It helps you retain that. And even you're not doing anything, just revise the questions that you appeared, that you saw and you appeared, that you saw while appearing for those mocks. And I think you're good to go. And when you're appearing for those that particular mock, you are, putting yourself through that stress situation if you're giving it with all honesty. So I think it helps you there also. It helps you calm yourself, keep yourself calm, hold your nerves, as I mentioned earlier.
So if you took, as you said, you took around 50 mock tests, and each test has 80 questions of GA.
Exactly.
So you are basically,
questions.
So many questions you're solving. So of course it is going to help you anyhow. That is a very smart strategy, I would say, for GA. And did you restrict yourself to few months in GA preparation in phase 1?
Yes, ma'am. For phase 1, I went back to up to 8 months.
Okay.
For phase 2, 6 months. I mean, honestly, आप जितना पीछे जा सकते हो उतना जाओ. It's going to help. Like 9, 10, 11 months be. It's
Hmm.
great. But since I was working and I was very, very short on time, I had to restrict my preparation till then. But उसमें भी I had the strategy कि if I'm preparing up to 6 months, I should be very thorough with it. कि अगर
Hmm.
उससे if I get a very basic question, a very easy question, I shouldn't be able to miss that.
The point is that whatever you are reading, you should be confident about it. It should not be the
Definitely.
case that I'm reading for 1 year, but I'm not able to solve questions from that. So better than that, you go for 6 or 8 months, but you should be able to solve questions. Like thorough revision is required.
True.
Okay. So I think phase one, phase two, we have touched upon. Now let's go to the interview part.
Mm-hmm.
How was your interview?
Ma'am, my interview was surprisingly really nice and smooth. Like I was expecting that they're going to grill me a lot. And I'd given again a lot of mock interviews as well.
Hmm.
And in every mock interview, I got this feedback that, A, you talk a lot. You
Hmm.
must stop yourself from expressing too much. And secondly, I was expecting a lot of HR questions, why this sudden change in career path, etc. But to my surprise, it was completely technical. Like not a
Hmm.
single HR question was asked.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, the most non-technical that they went was they asked me something related to my hobby. I'm a trained Kathak dancer. तो
Hmm.
उसमें भी I remember they asked me very technical question like कथक में कितने घराने होते हैं वो मेरी question थी. And
Hmm.
उसपे and one thing I noticed in the interview is that the panel members are very calm, they're very sweet. They'll It's not a stress interview, you're very comfortable. They make you feel very comfortable, etc. But then they grill you, and sometimes they'll put forth things which will be completely opposite to what you said. Like for example, when I said 3 घराने होते हैं तो वो सर ने काउंटर किया मुझे, नहीं नहीं अभी एक रीसेंट डेवलपमेंट हुई है, ये 2 घराने बहुत सिमिलर है तो मेरा ख्याल है अभी 2 ही घराने हैं. Are you aware of that? And I said, no, sir, I'm not sure if any recent development has happened. What I know is that there are 3 घराnas, and then I went back, I did my internet search, ऐसा कुछ नहीं हुआ था. So
Hmm.
probably they were putting me through some kind of pressure कि how confident or how sure she is.
Hmm.
So उस time पे I'd suggest कि don't be arrogant, like do not be arrogant, but at the same time be very firm. If you
Hmm.
know something and you're very confident about it, don't be afraid of saying this to the panel members.
Hmm.
That is one thing. I think interview situation mein this is very important because it happened with me a couple of times. एक और उन्होंने मुझसे I remember question पूछा था. It was related to what I did. So I work in the anti-money laundering division of my of the bank, which is my client. So they asked me what you did, and I said I work on this software, etc. And they straight away said कि सारा काम तो software करता है, आप क्या करते हैं?
Hmm.
This was the thing that they said, and I tried to explain to them that this is what the software does, and this is where I come in. I do the external validation and everything, and they were like nahi nahi nahi, aisa nahi hota, we know it. So I had to give them an example, and then probably uske baad bhi I don't think at that point of time they were very convinced because I could see a very confused expression. But I mean, put forth your point with a lot of
Hmm.
clarity and a lot of confidence, okay? At no point should your confidence drop, or even if it has, it shouldn't appear on your face.
Hmm.
Like always, I know it's very difficult, and in the hindsight, I'm talking like this, but then please have a very calm and composed expression.
Hmm.
Don't buckle under pressure. That's very important in interviews.
Because they might be doing that intentionally, to see how
Mhm.
do you react, actually not even act, how do you react to that particular situation. So
Mhm.
the questions were actually interesting, that the ones that you have mentioned. So any other like question that you'd like to mention, which is kind of like might be useful for the students, not specifically to your background, but otherwise it's common or general.
So when I entered, I remember Chairman sir, he started my interview and he was going through my the biodata form and he just asked me, BFSI likha hua hai, what is the full form of BFSI? So I told him, and then he asked me like which bank do you work for? So I told him it's an American bank. So he asked me something related to global financial crisis. He said, what is the biggest change you think happened after global financial crisis? And I just gave a one word answer. I just said that after the global financial crisis, regulators became a lot more proactive. That's it. I just stopped myself there. And then he kept looking at me. I think for some 2, 3 seconds, he just looked at me. And I think he was expecting me more to say, but then
Hmm.
already had this in mind that, I'm not going to speak too much. If he wants to ask me something, he'll ask me question.
Hmm.
So he just looked at me and then he's like, okay, fine. And then he asked the other panel member to go ahead. And also, like, one thing I'd like to mention. So, since I have, as I mentioned, anti-money laundering ka background hai mera, I had prepared everything. Like, I tried at least that, I'm able to cover as much as I can. So when I went for my interview, right, one has this preconceived notion ki when I introduce myself, I'm going to say these things, and probably the panel members will catch hold of it and will
Huh.
ask me questions related to that. So I remember she asked me, what is the one thing about RBI that interests you the most? So I don't know. I just said currency management, monetary policy, and the anti-money laundering regulations that it makes. I don't know why. I just said that, probably hoping that she'll catch hold of it and she'll ask me questions related to money laundering. She didn't. She asked me the question. She asked me the questions she wanted to ask.
Hmm.
And overall, मेरे पूरे interview में money laundering के जो questions आए, मुझे the most basic questions I got.
Hmm.
A, what is the primary law in India related to money laundering? And B, the difference between laundered money and white money, which is
Hmm.
very, very basic. So again, you can't plan your interview directly.
Right.
Like, we think we can be smart and we can drive our interview the way we want to. They don't let you drive the way completely. They'll ask the questions they want to ask.
Nee, but Pragya, I think important point is that you might not be able to drive the interview, but if you have
Hmm.
prepared well on all
Right,
the
right.
aspects, you will be directly or indirectly able to answer, which you could actually. So
Mhm.
that is what is more important, right? That you don't know what they are going to ask, but at least you can prepare from your end. That is what
Right.
you did. So when you were preparing for interview,
Mhm.
what all things did you follow? Like we know there are few things that usually, there are. So let's see that what are yours.
Sure, ma'am. So firstly, I think your biodata, it's the most important document that there is. Very important. Like, it's the Bible. When you're putting a word in that form, that application form, please make sure that you know everything about it. Like, I know it's very difficult to prepare everything, but prepare as much as you can. And especially if there's something which is a little unusual, like for example, in your hobby or something that you've done in your college, which stands out. Like, for example, for me, it was my Kathak dance. So again, be very, very particular in preparing about that. I remember when the reason I took up so many mock interviews is that I wanted my biodata form to reach as many experts as possible, so that I have a list of questions, a list of potential questions which can be put before me. So biodata form, extremely important. The second is the RBI website. Again, so many details in there. um, Notifications are very important. Please go through that. Go through those notifications. I mean, the exact word to word within the RBI website. At least आप शुरू के 2-3 लाइन्स आप पढ़ लीजिए. बहुत ज़्यादा important होती है. फिर मैंने रिपोर्ट्स में, आई जस्ट वेंट थ्रू द एनुअल एंड सेमी एनुअल रिपोर्ट्स.
Hmm.
एंड उसमें भी the RBI reports which are there, they're very, very extensive, and a lot of details, etc. So usme what I did was, and this holds true for, I think, the articles as well, that
Hmm.
when anything is published on the website, there's a summary given right at the start of the article, and then there's a conclusion. So if you're
Hmm.
not able to read through it, please read the summary as well as the conclusion. You're good to go if you're reading that.
Hmm.
That's very important. Speeches, again, extremely important. मुझे here I'll give you my personal experience. मुझे थोड़ी दिक्कत होती थी speech पढ़ने में, because they're very huge speeches. So what I would do is I'd listen to those speeches. RBI के YouTube channel पे वो upload हो जाते थे, तो मैं 2x की speed पे उनको सुनती थी. And आपको word to word नहीं उसको याद करना. Just know the gist of it. Know what the seniors at RBI, the dignitaries, deputy governor or governors or the governor, they're saying on certain things. इस बार मतलब whatever transcripts I read, one of the most the most frequently asked question was the views on cryptocurrency.
Hmm.
What do you think is the way to go around it, etc. This was very common. And also, we often have this dilemma कि newspaper पढ़े कि नहीं पढ़े. I'll say कि newspaper पढ़ना important है. अगर आप नहीं पढ़े तो at least press releases पढ़िए, because you'll notice this, something which has been in news today, most probably it will be asked to you tomorrow in the interview.
Hmm.
Like, I remember उस time पे जब हमारी interviews हो रहे थे, RBI had released a discussion paper, I think, कि whether UPI should be monetized. ये एक उन्होंने and it was very heavily covered newspapers में, and this was asked कि, what is merchant discount rate, the theoretical questions related to it. Similarly, I remember RBI had released a working paper on sustainable finance and RBI's views on it. Now, you're not supposed to read the entire article. Obviously, RBI website, it's very, very difficult to understand, very comprehensive. but just know things about it कि sustainable finance क्या होती है, इंडिया का इन जनरल परफॉर्मेंस कैसा रहा, इन वेरी प्लेन एंड सिंपल वर्ड्स. 2-3 लाइंस आपको पता होनी चाहिए कि आप बेसिक क्वेश्चंस टैकल कर सको. So yeah, that was my
So
strategy.
newspaper, you had a habit of reading newspaper, so you were doing that. RBI website, RBI YouTube channel, and of course you said biodata is a very important source of questions because you are giving them yourself that this is my biodata. So obviously that is going to be important. So, and of course you took mock interviews. So all these aspects, if one is going for an interview, these should be touched, right? So I think that's it. That's it for the interview part. So we have tried to cover all the important pointers for phase one, phase two, even interview. And you have been telling your experience in a very, in a manner, a very genuine manner, where students can take out the things that acha aise bhi hota hai, these are the questions that can be asked. So I think this is quite an insightful interview. I have a lot of students live and people are asking. I think you have answered mostly those queries. So, जिन्होंने video नहीं देखा, please go back and watch the video. Like a student is asking, can I prepare for RBI along with pursuing MBA? So if you want to say something on it.
Definitely, I think आप degree complete कर लीजिए because RBI I don't think lets you sit for like even if you're sitting for your for the RBI examination while pursuing an MBA, you'll have to make a choice कि continue MBA college में करना है या RBI में. Along with an MBA, I think yeah, definitely because I did my MBA in general management and उसमें a lot of the topics are covered, management के leadership, motivation. ये सारे topics, जोहारी window, emotional intelligence, I still remember all those things I had read during MBA. वो अलग बात है, मैं भूल गई and I had to restart again. But if you're preparing MBA, it's definitely along with an MBA, it's definitely going to help you. Please go ahead.
ठीक है, चलो. तो those of you, most of the questions are now repeated. Please watch the video बाद में जाके later on, ठीक है, and do drop your comments also. How did you like the video, the interview takeaways, and all the things that we have discussed. Thank you so much, Pragya, for coming, taking out time, and sharing these insightful things with us, all the students, and we thank you for coming here today.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you so much, EduTap, for all the help.
And we are going to wish you all the very best from our entire faculties, entire team of EduTap, entire student family of EduTap.
Thank you so
for
much.
becoming the RBI Grade B officer. We really hope that you're going to do really well there.
Thank you so much.